Okay, now I moved over here because now we're getting into some hunting situation. This is not a terrible situation right here, but it's, as you can see, we got a limb across the target there. Then we got backdrops. We've got different things that can distract me from my shot. This is not a 40-yard shot. This is not a 20-yard shot. This is about a 15-yard shot. So I have a 20-yard pin set up, I have a 10-yard pin set up. I'm going for the center of the target, right here, 15 yards. We're gonna see what happens. Okay, and we'll do it again. One more time. Try to hit that center. I'm using my 20-yard pin, holding just a little bit low. There we go. Now, this is a situation that most people don't practice, right? You practice out in the open, you practice out in the clear, sunny. You don't really practice this situation. So now, I've got an opening back there that's about 25 yards. And I'm gonna move the target back there. I'm gonna shoot it again through that opening, and we'll see what happens. That's pretty good though. Arrows are touching in the target. Okay. Okay, we're gonna move this so we can get a view of what it's gonna look like. Like I said, I said it before, but my mic wasn't on. This is my first time shooting this bow in over 8 years, because I know I haven't shot it since I started my new job, and I've been on that job for about 7 years. So I'm gonna move here. I'm gonna take 2 shots down here at, that's gonna be about 20 yards. So I'm gonna hold dead center, a 20-yard pin with gnats flying in my eye, of course. Now, you see how I sunk off to the right just a little bit? I didn't stay with the shot. Unfortunately, when you're hunting, you don't get a do-over. So we're gonna try it again. I hit 20 yards. I've got limbs across the target in my view. So, here we go. Ah, look at that. See the difference in the impact? Now that I'm shooting through stuff, and this is something that you have to practice, okay? Now I'm gonna step to the other side. I'm gonna try the same shot, another 2 arrows, okay? Dead center. See that? Let's do it again with this arrow. Try it again. 20 yards, 20-yard pin. See that? That group is not like it was when I was out in the open. Because, for one, I'm getting a little muscle fatigue, and I'm starting to drag my shoulder to the right when I shoot. We're gonna do one more. This one going straight down the pipe. There we go. Now, take a look at this group. I want to show you how different conditions will affect your shot. You know, it doesn't seem like much, but it makes a difference when you're sitting out in the open shooting and when you're actually in hunting conditions and shooting. How much was my stray out here? You see, that's still not a bad group. But it's not as tight as it was when I was out there in the open shooting. See? It's not a bad group, but that's at 20. I think this was more like a 25-yard shot, more so than a 20. But still, take that one out. You can see that's the group there. Aiming here, hitting here. So, now I want to talk about this a little bit. For the people that are interested and want to know, how do you miss? Well, step back out here and I'm going to talk about it. Now, there's several things I want to show today in this video. I was asked a question a long time ago. Have you ever missed a deer? And all I could do was laugh. I said, any honest hunter is going to tell you that they have missed. Missing is a part of learning, you know. I came out here today to demonstrate two things as far as, well, shooting conditions and how they affect your aim. Also you, how you accustom your body, your eyes, and everything, your muscle groups into making shots. It affects how you're going to be able to hunt. What happens is most people come out and they practice and they get good at practicing because your conditions are right. I know that target's at 20 yards. I know that target's at 30 yards. I know that target's at 40 yards. And I'm out here, it's sunny, it's clear, and I can see my pupils and my eyes are dilated the same every time I practice. I found out when I was using a cheap peep sight that had the little bitty hole in it, I could come out here, shoot in the daytime perfectly. Get in the woods and it's low light conditions and I couldn't even see the pins. And I couldn't understand that. But as I researched it, your pupils dilate differently according to the light that's around you. So whatever the conditions are that you practice in, you need to make sure that you're practicing in the same conditions that you're going to be hunting in. And if you notice, when I step back here to the woods, I step to the left of the camera, the first two shots at 25 yards, and they went over to the right. Just a little bit, not much, just a little bit. Sometimes that's all it takes though. And then I step back over to the right and I'm back dead center because that's my strong side is my right side. So you have to keep all this stuff in mind, and the way you find this out is by practicing. So you need to have a routine. It's just like when you work out at a gym or whatever, you have a routine that you go through Monday, Tuesday, maybe pull muscles Monday, push muscles Tuesday, rest Wednesday, then work light, pull muscles Thursday, light, push muscles Friday, and then you rest Saturday. You have to have a routine. Same thing with shooting. You want to get into a routine. A lot of people will purchase a weapon. They won't pick it up until it's time to go in the woods, or they won't pick it up until hunting season starts. Because, oh, I'm good, I know what I'm doing. But here's the main point of this. When you're out there in the woods, you're going against an animal's defenses. And a lot of times we think that deer's defenses are just running away. That's not all that a deer does when he defends himself. A deer can know that you're there and never let you know that he knows you're there. By doing subtle things that you think is just happening naturally, when he changes course, he's going this way. All of a sudden he changes course and it goes back this way. We're thinking, wow, he was coming in and then all of a sudden he just turned because he saw you, smelled you, sensed your presence, knows there's danger there, and he put it in defense mode. Deer will defend themselves by traveling into the thickets, staying in the thickets, keeping an object between you and him, like a tree, branches, creeks, things like that, to make sure that you cannot just rush out on him and catch him off guard. So when you go against that deer's defenses and you're used to practicing this way, and then his defenses start putting him in a position where it's over here, and if that deer is big enough and you're excited enough, you will take an ill-advised shot, and a lot of times you miss. Now, sometimes you can take a shot that you're used to practicing and you still miss. Give an example why that happens. Feet. I remember practicing with my bow. I would practice for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And I was just, in my mind, I'm just good, I can't miss. I'm sitting in a stand, it's about 7 a.m. The sun hadn't even come up good, it's just starting to get light in the woods, and I hear footsteps. I look up and here comes a buck. He's coming straight to me. I'm sitting there with my Browning Nomad 2. The deer comes up and he gets about perfectly. I mean, he's perfectly at 12 yards away. I draw back, I'm sitting down. I'm used to standing up when I practice, right? But I'm sitting down, and instead of flowing everything straight like this, I did this. I had to lean out to get around the tree, shoot, arrow goes right underneath, barely escapes his leg, he takes off. And I couldn't understand why, and I talked to an experienced archer, and he told me, I know what you did. You were sitting there doing this, weren't you? I said, yeah. He said, see, that doesn't work. If you don't practice that, that's not gonna work. So that's not how I practice. The other thing is, a stand, a deer stand, climber stand, if you're gonna hunt out of it, the platforms are normally about 24 to 28 inches. Out here, I've got acres to set my feet. Stand, I can turn my feet this way, I can go this way, I can get a stance, a wide stance, I can get a narrow stance, but in a deer stand, I get this. I get that, that's all I get. Now I've got to balance, I've got to stay balanced. And if you don't have good balance, and you're standing in that deer stand, just imagine a little bit of a breeze coming through, and you're doing this, and you miss. All that comes into play. So you have to practice the way that you're gonna hunt. Another thing that will cause you to miss is this right here. I'm sitting in the stand, deer comes in. I've been here for about 3 hours. Comes in, walking in steady. Now I've got to do something I don't practice doing, which is, I've got to do this. I've got to stand. Now, might not seem like much, but if you ever took a long drive in a car and you get ready to get out of that car, and all of a sudden those muscles that, you know, that you were using, it was coming so naturally and easy, now they're kind of stiff, and that's what happens. It could be cold, it could be hot, your muscles stiffen up. Now you're standing, and you got to go to that shot position. And you got to get that shot off, and everything's kind of stiff. If you don't practice at that mode, then it's not going to work out for you. Not very well. So this is just a brief thing on, if I shoot like this, how can I miss? There are a lot of ways that you can ruin a shot, especially when your adrenaline's pumping and you're excited. So keep in mind, keep a practice routine, practice to hunt how you're gonna hunt. If you're gonna hunt fields, practice open shots. If you're gonna hunt thickets like I do, you need to practice in the woods. You gotta practice. You gotta practice in low light conditions. You gotta practice when the sun is up. You gotta practice even sometimes, I know this is not easy, but if it's raining or whatever, you gotta get that practice in. Same with a gun, same thing. You have to get that practice in those situations where you're gonna be hunting. And always use the same ammunition, same arrows, same broadheads that you're gonna hunt with. So, till next time, happy fishing, happy hunting, happy archery, happy trapping. We'll see you next time here at Jamie Heath, Keep Shooting Outdoors.